Hello and welcome to the EEPROM 9. Today we have the Acorn System 1. Now, just as a disclaimer, this is not an original one from the late 70s. Those things are as rare as teeth. I will also apologise for shaky cam, which I will try to keep to a minimum, but, well, both my tripods are broken. One, I don't know where it is. I think it's at work. In their pot of work, broken thanks to my ex, and the other one downstairs just disintegrated in time and it's currently in my cupboard downstairs. I need to buy a new tripod, yes, I know. But the workbench is mostly set up now. That's not getting to the point, is it? The point is Acorn System 1. This is a replica. I bought the boards on eBay, like replica, put it up on the Acorn Facebook group, and the replica sold out instantly, pretty much, boards. So I don't know if they have been respun into production, but they're pretty good little boards actually, and I should do a full video going into more of the build. I only really documented it. There are a few little hidden tips and tricks that I have to show you. So this is it in its power on state. Sadly, you will never get to see the full effect of how awesome this display looks in real life. The camera has had the good manners to focus, and we shall show it just running a little demo program that's built into ROM, because programming this thing is quite lengthy. So we reset it, and all the dots along the bottom show, as you can see. Then we go to M, which is this is the address it's just sat at normally, and if we do down, we can see what's actually in the memory, because that's the address, that's the mode it's in, and that's where the data lives. And then it just uses that as a little decimal point digit. Waste of a digit, but hey, who cares? So we will go. Cameras never show how awesome this stuff looks in real life, especially these old school LED displays, which are far more cooler than any modern LCD. And then that's just got FF in it, but watch this. If we put 16 or 17 into the actual memory, into the actual, it would be the memory. Done. Woohoo! We get a little. It's basically going through its entire address space now, and memory and all that good jazz. And that's it, just running a little test demo program, which I had to remind myself what it was from the manual, which I actually printed. So yeah, none of this is original, although I did use 1970s parts where I could find them in my part stock, but I still have to populate the tape drive chips. That just went on the back burner because I sort of finished this around the time I actually moved. Then if you go under there, it actually does have like 1980s. I've tried to use as many vintage parts as possible. And all these little tactile switches, Jesus, these are expensive, but hey. Also difficult to find actually, and expensive, and took a long time to come in the post, but I think they came from China. And then the display I made using original bubble LEDs, because bubble LEDs can't be beat. And I basically wired it up. I literally reverse engineered the pinout of the original display used by this and basically created my own display module. Because, yeah, I could have brought one from the guy who made the kit, but that's just not going to look as cool. It's not going to have that 70s feel that the Acorn System 1 did. And this is basically my way of obtaining an Acorn System 1, and I do want to do this for like the Sinclair Mark 14 and other single board computer kits, which are basically non-obtainium, so I can still have them. They're just not like vintage originals. And then for the interconnect, I just used a standard, I think it's a floppy drive kit. No, it's actually a standard IDE connector. I just grabbed one of those out of a part stock, sandwiched it in between, problem solved. That works beautifully, because it was just like, what kind of connector shall I use? Well, I'll just go into the garage, desolder some IDE headers off an old motherboard, and hey presto. But yeah, that is my Acorn System 1. A bit of a pride and joy of my collection, even though it's technically not a vintage computer, because it's not vintage, but it's built with as many vintage parts as possible. So yeah, it is still a vintage computer built off that EEPROM from the 1970s. You'll have seen my thing on that. Part 4 will entail a bit more detail about the machine on like chips and stuff like that, showing you the actual board underneath, because at the moment it's all screwed together. I'm not unscrewing it. I've caused loads of power surges on my laptop. It does not like powering this thing, but tough shit laptop, you're going to have to power it. But yeah, I went to some decent lengths to actually get it, and I was going to get the template button thing, but that had sold out as well, so that's why the buttons are labelled with just like a Sharpie, and then I used nail polish, clear nail polish on top to prevent them from being rubbed off when you press the buttons, because yeah, permanent marker ain't permanent when it's in contact with fingers all the time. But yeah, that's all for now. I hope the camera shake wasn't too bad. That's a legitimate criticism someone made on a recent video. Yeah, I'll address that at some point. I'm actually going to, at some point, set this up with a full video making setup and try and do some big Clive-like videos, just like assembling projects and stuff on the workbench, because that would be fun, and that's what I really feel like doing. So I need to actually get out there and buy a few electronics kits just for the purpose of putting together. But thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully this satisfies the Acorn System 1 urge that I kicked off a while back.